And hello, everyone. Welcome to the second edition of the e-commerce Connections Summer Edition. Very excited to have all of you join us live. And if you're not joining us live, if you're watching this as a replay, welcome, welcome. Happy to see you all. So let me just get started quickly by letting you know exactly who are going to be the speakers for today's beautiful session, where our main concern is to answer any of your questions. And we know, as Amazon sellers and e-commerce sellers, you have a lot of problems, of course, and we want to try to show you that there are solutions for these problems. Anyone that's joining us live and coming into the live stream now, get started by telling me where you are watching us from. So type in the chat where you're watching us from. Where are you right now? Very excited to know. I know most of you are probably in Dubai, but if you are not, let us know. So we've got three incredible speakers today. We have John, Sebastian, and Alex. Let me give you a quick rundown of who they are. So Sebastian Hertz is from Signify Global Product Sourcing. He will be attending. He is one of the co-founders. He will be attending, and Signify Global Sources helps sellers, e-commerce sellers, not necessarily just Amazon sellers, be able to find great products and great suppliers all over the world. So he will be talking about this. Then next, our next speaker who we're going to be starting off with is John Cavendish from Refundify. John is a very successful Amazon seller. He doesn't call himself successful. You'll get to meet him. But he also has multiple businesses in this space that support sellers. One of those businesses is Refundify. We recently did a video with John on our channel, but I wanted him to be part of this webinar because I wanted you to know a little bit more, specifically if you are a new seller, to understand a little bit more as to how you can get money back from Amazon. And you have a limited time to do this. Hence, I'm very excited to have John with us. And finally, we have Alex Spian, who is joining us from Sellerboard. I think I've been talking about Sellerboard for quite some time. Most of you already know probably Sellerboard, maybe have never used it. It is a great tool for you to know how to measure your, I would say, your success on Amazon from a sense of knowing how much money and profit you are making. It can also help you identify any gaps you have in your inventory and stuff like that. Maybe Sellerboard isn't really a tool that you require if you're just starting out and if you have just one or two products, but it is something that is interesting for you to learn about once you start growing to a certain level. Now, thank you so much for everyone. So I see we've got people from the UAE, from Dubai. We've got Abdel Salim from Algeria. Hey, Abdel Salim. So let's get started, and let me introduce you to John Cavendish from Refundify. Hey, John.
Hey, Crystal.
Hi.
Thanks for having me here. What an amazing introduction.
Thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Everyone, just so that you know, John is joining us from Vietnam, from beautiful Vietnam. So thank you so much, John, for your time.
Oh, thanks for having me. It's amazing to be in a similar time zone for once. It's so nice to be in the UAE rather than in USA when I'm upside down in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah. Makes it much easier for both of us. Yeah.
I love it. Yes, and thanks so much for having me. It's great to see so many people here from all over the Middle East. So
yes.
Yeah, different crowd from usual. Super cool.
Yes. So John, we're going to be talking a little bit more about Refundify today, and what you guys have set up, what it is. Like a lot of people, and you know this, a lot of sellers, once you tell them you can get your money back from Amazon, they're like, what? Amazon is gonna give me money? So it is a beautiful service that you guys provide. I'll let you get started. So would you like me to share your or you can do it on your own, probably
I think you have to push them up for me so that you can see them, my slide.
There you
perfect. Go. Cool. I can see the slides. Thank you. Awesome.
Go ahead.
All right. Let's dive into it. So, today it was going to be a little bit different until me and Crystal connected. And then we realized that there's only about 2 months that you have left to do this. So I'm going to take you through actually kind of telling you all about Amazon reimbursements, about Refundify, And as Crystal said, getting money that Amazon owes you back to you, because literally it's your money, just Amazon has been holding on to it. So Refundify is a new way to process your refunds. And I'm going to take you through what refunds are and a little bit about the company as well. So first, there's an urgent announcement that Amazon is slashing their reimbursement window. So we'll talk about this in a bit, but basically, this is why you need to take action now. Amazon previously has let you look back 18 months on your sales, basically from today up to 18 months ago. So you have an 18-month claim window on any money that Amazon may have, missed while in your revenue, which we'll talk about in a bit. But they're changing this to 16 months starting in October. So if you haven't done this, now is time to take action. I put the URL at the bottom so you can check out our page while I'm talking. But to be honest, now's the time to take action because there's only 2 months and then this opportunity is over. And this isn't like fake scarcity. I mean, this is literally what it is. Amazon's changing the rules. I'll talk about that a bit in the future. Okay, so Refundify. What is Refundify? Refundify is a software that helps you get money back from Amazon when they miss your refunds. Here's the core team. There's me. Apparently I look like an evil mastermind, according to Alex. His picture is much more friendly. I need to get one of those. And there's Mary, who's our technical reimbursement head. Just a little bit about me, so you know what I'm talking. I know what I'm talking about. I founded and CEO of Seller Candy. We've served over 500 clients. Also Refundify. We've now reimbursed more than $4.5 million worth of refunds for our clients as well. I sold an Amazon business in the past. I was a seller for 8 or 9 years before that. So I've been around since about 2015 in the space. Alex, who's our CTO, he's been building tech for 8 years, and now he's been running business for 2 years. And Mary, who's our kind of technical head, she came out of Amazon themselves, and now she runs our process to make sure we're always ahead of the game. So quickly, what are reimbursements? Before we do that, let's take a step back. What is your Amazon margin? So you can type it in the chat if you want. What would be your dream Amazon profit margin? Is it 10%? Hopefully it's not 10%. 20%, 25%, 30%? I mean, maybe 90% would be my dream margin. Yes, I see. 100%. I think that would be my dream as well. Just kick back, drink coconuts on the beach and get 100% margin. So let's say it's 30%. Let's say your goal dream margin is 30%. Or 20%. But Amazon isn't good at returning lost funds that belong to you. So say your margin was 30%, but Amazon's losing money. So they're losing returns. They're losing things in the warehouse. So you see here, this is hopefully not what the Amazon warehouse looks like, but they're losing lost revenue, damaged inventory, removal claims that aren't supposed to be there. Inbound, they're losing items that are coming into the warehouse. I'm sure you've all experienced lost inbound or lost, things not being collated right when they come in from your shipments, and unused shipping labels. And this also means falling off the back of the truck when it's moving between warehouses in the US or internationally, like things that go from one place and then don't arrive at the next place. And you have overcharged FBA fees. So, it goes in, Amazon, you say it's this size because you've measured it, and Amazon for some reason says it's this size, and then they put it into a higher category and more fees. So how much is this? Is it this much? Is it this much? Like, how much money are you actually losing here? And actually, you're losing 1 to 3% of revenue. So if you're doing $100,000 a month, we'd expect that to be somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 a month Amazon is messing around with in their system when they're messing up. Which at a 20% profit margin is 5 to 15% of your profit, which is pretty crazy. And more if you've never done this before. So potentially you have a backlog of up to 18 months. So, I mean, just think about it. What would be 3% of your revenue for the last 1.5 years? And this is how much money. This is a worst case, probably closer to 1%. But this is the worst case of how much money Amazon may have sitting in their bank account, which is going to get cut off on October 23rd when you can't go back those 18 months. You can only go back 2 months. So here we go back to the example with a 30% margin. So what does 3% of your revenue, which is the amount they're keeping, really mean? Well, 30% margin, that's up to 10% of your profits, which is pretty crazy. And as we said, at 20% margin, that's up to 15% of your profits. So what would you do with an extra 15% of your money every year in your back pocket? Well, you either invest in the business, take a holiday. How many cars could you buy with that amount of money? I know personally, I could have bought many cars with that amount of money. So if we go back, all right, sorry, double slides there somehow. I think when I uploaded them to here, it doesn't skip the slides, which I skipped previously. So who wants more profit? Maybe type in the chat if you'd like more profit, because it's something that I would also like. Oh, nice layout change. Something that I would also like on occasion. And how do you do this? So we can go through some ways of doing it. There are 3 options and 3 ways to do this. Number 1, your number 1 employee will work for free, 18 hours a day, never needs to sleep, never needs to do anything. It's you. So you can do it yourself. All you need to do this will be to basically Google it, figure out the system, and do it yourself. I reckon within a week or 2, you could probably figure out how to do it. But that would be a week or 2 of your time down the drain just doing reimbursements. Number 2 will be a virtual assistant. So you could definitely find someone who's done this in the past, maybe for $600 to $1,000 a month, and they could do this for you. The issue you have there is that, as I said, in 2 months' time, this is actually going to be a little bit of a fruitless endeavor. Or 3, you can use a service provider. One of them would be us, Refundify. And the cool thing is that these service providers, including us, charge on a percentage of recovered revenue. So what that means is, if we get you back $10,000, we take a small percentage of that as our fee for helping you do that. So there's no fee if we don't get any money back, basically. All right, back into the second section would be why Refundify. So we've been going for 3 years. We've already reimbursed $4.5 million worth of revenue, and our team, we actually have an operations team with amazing customer service, because the focus of our business has always been amazing customer service. Benefits of Refundify. So 1, it's totally hands-off. As we said, you just give it to us, we do it. 2 is no retainer, so no flat fee every month. And 3, it's totally secure. So we have lots of security systems. We're an Amazon SP API integrated app and a SPN provided partner. So we have all of the Amazon SPs going for us. And on top of that, we're better, cheaper, and faster than doing it yourself, depending on how you value your time. I mean, if you'll work for $5 an hour, then maybe it's cheaper to do it yourself. So quickly, before we get into the questions, what sets us apart? You'll see on this landing page at the bottom, we share our rates openly. So the cool thing about us is when we started this business, we want to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the industry by being totally transparent. We wanted to share, thanks for sharing the interview with me down there in the comments. So we want to share our rates, and we want to make it so that you never needed to negotiate with us again, because that was one of the biggest pain points we saw in the industry. People will bait you in with a low rate, but they'll play with the rates in the future, and we'll be totally transparent with rates. We also have our ASIN reinstatement service. So if you're a larger seller, which means you're doing more than $1 million a year in revenue, we will actually include with our service 4 ASIN reinstatements a year. So if you ever have an issue with a suspended ASIN, you can basically work with us, and we will help you get that ASIN reinstated. And of course, like I said, our goal is amazing customer service, because we believe that everything's a relationship, and we want to look after our clients and look after people who work within our group of companies. All right, just so I can share our rates, so you know what you'd be getting if you did sign up with us. It's all based on monthly revenue. So here are our publicly available rates. Basically, it means that if you're doing more than 50,000 a month, you get 17%. More than 100,000 a month, you get 16%. And this is a percentage of the revenue that we recover. So if we recover $10,000 and you're doing less than 10K a month, we would take $2,200. But if you're doing more than 100K a month, it would only be $1,500. So this is some of the best rates in the industry. And like I said, this is the time you have to do it, because this window of opportunity is ending in 2 months from now. We also include free suspended ASIN reinstatements. So what that means is, if you're doing more than $1 million a year, we will cover any suspended ASIN that happens during your time working with us, up to 4 times. So hopefully many of you haven't had that many ASIN suspensions in the last year. If you have, then hopefully you have a provider that already does this. But this is just a bonus that working with a partner like us you can have, because we know what's going on and we can really help you if anything happens with your account. We also have our amazing customer service. There's me visiting a few of our team in the Philippines. I wouldn't recommend going somewhere like this in the Philippines because the traffic is absolutely awful. But it was nice to go and visit them. This was a few months ago, down in somewhere in Manila, in a back street somewhere. So very quickly, in my last couple of minutes, just going to take you through how it works. So we have our onboarding process. The cool thing is it's totally automated. So if you do decide that it's something that you'd like to do and take action on, all you need to do is go here, fill in your name, create an account, add us to your account here, which is through the API. It comes with a load of instructions. You just basically click through these buttons and fill in the information. Then you add a user on the back end of your account so that once we're approved, we can help you start raising cases and getting your money back. And then you grant us permissions. So it's just a simple 4-step process, and then you're on board with Refundify. The 5th step is to add your payment information. So you can either do this immediately or you don't need to. We will do an audit once you put the rest of the information in, and then once you're ready for us to start work, you put in your payment information. I would encourage you to put your payment information in straight away if you haven't done this before, because then we can start work immediately. Otherwise, you can wait for your audit results and put that in afterwards. Okay, then it looks like you get this pretty screen while you're waiting for us to give you your results. Also, if you have any problems, you can raise a ticket with us. Ooh, I've moved around again. You can raise a ticket with us over here, and you get a dashboard. So every month, you get a dashboard showing how much Refundify refunded you, how much Amazon refunded you, and then anything you did yourself, because transparency is key. We believe in transparency, and we believe that everything should be able for you to check yourself, so you know that everything is completely straight up and you can actually see the cases and see where the money's going. You get a very detailed report with all the case numbers, and that you can just basically track everything that happens through the system. We also have a way of helping you get money back from lost inbound, which we'll take you through if you decide to sign up. So if you are excited about it, and if it's something that you do want to give a go, all you need to do is head to, not this URL, this special URL over here, which is assrefundify.store, which I'll show you again in a second. You get your free audit, and then you just put in your payment details to start the service off. Also, if you go today, because of Crystal and her amazing community and the community you're a part of, if you do sign up, you'll get $500 of free reimbursements. That means we'll get $500 of money back from Amazon, and we won't charge you a fee on that. That URL makes me laugh. Also, for everyone here, we'll throw in access to our Amazon Strategist Summit, which was an education program we did last year with over 30 hours of content from world-leading Amazon experts from all over the world. Next one, we're going to have Crystal at next time we run it. And that's it. So if you think you're ready to get started, just head to our URL, which is assrefundify.store, and yeah, we'll be happy to have you and help you get any money you're owed back in the next, literally 69 days before Amazon cuts it off forever. So now is the time to act. If you've been selling, if you think Amazon may owe you money, and if you don't think Amazon may owe you money, they will. It's just basically, if you're doing more than 10,000 a month, this is the time to do it right now, because Amazon will owe you a significant amount of money.
That's absolutely perfect.
100 miles an hour for you, Crystal.
That's absolutely perfect. Thank you so much, John. I have a couple of questions, but for anyone that is watching us live, if you have any questions for John or anything that he just explained, if you want further clarity, please go ahead and type it into the chat box. I think everyone is like stunned and trying to connect to Refundify. But John, my main question is something that I asked you in the interview video that we did together. So if anyone hasn't watched it already, I already put it in the chat. And if you're watching this video, if you're watching this webinar not live, you will also find it everywhere. We'll add it into the comments, we'll add it into the description box, so there shouldn't be an issue for you to find it. So my question is related to who would be the right person is there such a thing as a right person or a right seller to actually explore whether or not they might be eligible for refund from Amazon?
That's a good question. What I would say is, if you've been selling more than 18 months, or if you're doing more than 10 to 20,000 a month, Amazon will definitely owe you money. So there's definitely, you should definitely do it, because that's how they're people that are definitely going to be owed money. If you're doing significant money, so more than 100,000 a month or $1 million a month, then Amazon owes you a lot. Now is time to take action so that you have the big enough window to get it back before Amazon closes.
Yeah, that's quite simple. If you've been selling for quite some time, and if you or if you have high revenue, then just do it. Have you ever denied anyone? If anyone has approached you and said, "Yeah, I want to try this out. I want to see if I'm eligible." Is there any certain requirement from Refundify's side?
It's a good question. So no,
Other
there are
than
no
being a
requirements.
seller?
Yeah, you need to be a seller.
Yeah.
You need to be selling on Amazon
Yeah.
Marketplace. So this doesn't work for 1P. It doesn't work for Amazon Vendor. It works in all countries in the world. So if you're selling, whether you're selling in, UK, USA, Europe, UAE, Dubai, Turkey, wherever you're selling, we can support you there. And we'll only turn you away if you're mean to us. No. There's no real reason to turn you away.
Perfect. That's absolutely wonderful. I hope everyone uses the URL and logs in and starts with their Fundify, especially today. I'll make sure to send it to anyone in the network in case they haven't seen. A lot of people obviously are working today, and they might watch the webinar later on. So we'll make sure that they know about this. But even if you're watching this later on, like a few days later or anything like this, please go ahead and check Refundify, certainly before the end of October, so that you can see if you're eligible to get some money back and maybe buy me a gift or buy John a gift, or or maybe buy yourself a gift. That's also okay.
Some oud.
Some oud.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I mean, if it definitely before the end of October, because there's a claim window. So it takes 2 to 4 weeks definitely to get all the money back, potentially longer if you're a bigger account. So it's best to start as soon as possible, because if you start on the day before, Amazon will probably wipe it out the next day.
Exactly. So that's it. Thank you so much, John, for your time, and thank you for all of this explanation. I hope that a lot of people are going to be interested. I'm sure they are. And if you guys have any questions for John, for the Refundify team, for Seller Candy, go ahead and leave them in the comments section. Even if you're watching this later on, I'll make sure to respond back to them, or I'll get them to respond back to you. And if you give us a lot of ideas, maybe we can come up with some more content for you as well to help and support you. How about that?
Love it.
We'll get John again on the channel. Yeah, we need that.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Crystal.
Thanks, John. Thank you for your time. See you soon. Have a good rest of your day. Fantastic. So that was John from Refundify. Again, you guys can use the special link, which I've added into the chat box, which is ASS for Amazon Sellers Society, refundify.store. So that is our direct link for Refundify. If you use it, then you'll be able to get all of Refundify's services, of course, and you'll also be able to get a bonus. So that's it. Now, with that being said, let me introduce you. I did already, if you joined us in the beginning, I did introduce you to all of our speakers today, but let me introduce you to our next speaker, who is very patient with explaining everything for me whenever I reach out to him. And that's Alex from Sellerboard. Hey, Alex.
Hello, Crystal.
How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us early on a Friday. It's the end of the week. So
I just went into my co-working space where I usually work from, and there's not so many people that want to work in the morning on a Friday. But we're here.
We're here.
Let's do it.
We're here. So, Alex, I was explaining in the beginning when we started the live that, I've been using Sellerboard. All of our clients have been using Sellerboard for over, me personally, maybe over 3 years. So it's an invaluable tool for anyone that wants to. I think you start thinking about these problems maybe 2 to 3 months after you start selling on Amazon, because you realize, oh, I don't know how much profit I'm making. There's not really a good system to manage my inventory. So having a tool like Sellerboard can be invaluable to somebody that is at that phase, which is basically starting out all the way to scaling and growing. I'll let you go ahead. Let me just add your presentation. I'll let you go ahead. I'll just make sure that anyone that has any questions, make sure that you add them into the chat, and we'll answer them after Alex's presentation is done. So, Alex,
All right.
the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Crystal. So let me first introduce myself again. I'm Alex, part of the marketing team at Sellerboard, and Sellerboard is a profit analytics software for Amazon sellers. And actually today, I'm not going to be talking too much about Sellerboard itself. I'll just probably do a quick sum up at the end and tell you how Sellerboard can help you. But rather, I would like to take this time to try and raise some questions and maybe give you some exact ways and tools that you can tackle some of the problems that you might have in maintaining your profitability, so you can work by yourself. And yeah, we don't have too much time, so let's jump into it. If you want, take screenshots, because there will be some hands-on advice. So let's get into it. My question for you today is whether you are sure about your profitability. So how much profit are you making with every unit sold? And when you are doing these calculations, are you considering all of the factors that influence your profitability? So for instance, given the fact that the factors always change. So the fees change, the prices change, the competitor activity changes, the cost of goods for your products change. All of that stuff is like a very dynamic ambience and context. So in order to have exact numbers and a very concrete understanding of your profitability, you need to factor all of these variables that always change. So that needs to be taken into account. So today I'm going to show you how you can do it, these calculations yourself, a lot of them, and how you can avoid some of the main, we call them profit killers, but actually these are factors that heavily influence your profitability. And by trying to somehow tackle these factors and maybe do something about them, then you can substantially grow your profitability, or at least protect it. All right, so let's move on. So being sure is basically what Sellerboard does. Gives you the peace of mind to be sure that, okay, I'm making a profit, I'm okay, I'm safe with the business I'm doing. And let's tackle the first profit killer. One of the most obvious ones are the underperforming products. So in every business, when you're running it, you have three main reports. So the first one is the P&L, the profit and loss report, which actually, in a way that Sellerboard offers, it's one of its main tools. And the second one is the cash flow, which actually shows you how much money is going inside and outside your business, how much money you have on hand to maintain your operations. And the third one is the balance sheet. So how much stock do you have and how you can work with that stock. So let's talk about measuring SKU profitability, finding those underperforming products and how you can do what you can do with that. So first of all, you need to build a SKU profitability table as shown in the example here, which is basically a very simple table by itself, and you could do it in Excel and Google Sheets. But the main thing is gathering data and then arranging it in a way that will show you the things that you need to see. First of all, take a look what columns we have here. So we have the units sold, their sale price, your cost of goods per unit, you have the revenue that you generate, the refunds, total refunds in value, and then you are calculating the percentage. So you have your overall sales that you have, and then you want to see how much percent, so what percentage of those sales are refunds cutting out, your cost of goods is cutting out, your Amazon fees is cutting out of your sales, and then your total advertising cost is cutting out, and then you're left with your margin, so with your profitability at the end. And then I've listed here the data sources that you can use for units sold, your cost of goods, refunds, Amazon fees, and so on. So basically, all of this data, or most of it, you can take out of the Seller Central by following these links, right? And then the cost of goods, obviously, you have it. And these are the data management techniques that you will need to work with this data. So first of all, you need to create a pivot table just to extract the data from different tables and combine it together so you can make these calculations. And then you need to use the VLOOKUP function in order to attribute different data values to same SKUs, right? Because you will have data regarding refunds and data regarding, for instance, your fees. And then you will need to combine all of this data for a single SKU inside a line, so you will have all of this data arranged. So what do you do when you have this data together? You start paying attention to what's draining from your profitability. So in this example right here, we have 4 products. The first one has a pretty decent profit margin, so 32%. The second one and third one, so and so. And the fourth one, is obviously underperforming. So what we can do, let's see that in the example of the second product, we have a really high refund rate. So 10% is really high. What can we do with refunds? Try and reduce them, right? Then with the cost of goods, the third and the fourth product have a really high cost of goods. What you can do here with the cost of goods, try and negotiate and maybe go for a bigger batch to reduce the cost of goods when you're ordering your next PO. With the Amazon fees, what you can do, try and avoid them. Obviously, if the fees are applied to your products, then only thing you can do is try to see which fees you can go ahead and avoid by, following certain Amazon regulations, right? And we're going to talk about that. But here in the second example, obviously the Amazon fees stand out. So 37% of your sales are eaten away by the Amazon fees right here. This is very bad. And in the fourth product, you can see that the total advertising cost over here is 27% for this product right here, which is very high. So you need to optimize your advertising costs, right? So you need to find a way to do that. So going back to Sellerboard, we can help you with all of these things and do it for the most part in an automated way. Because we first of all will give you a profit and loss analysis that you will be dynamic because the data will be updated automatically. And then we have tools to optimize your PPC activity. We have tools to manage your inventory and try to avoid some of the fees and other stuff as well. So then when you see these problem spots, then you need to make a decision on each SKU that is underperforming. So you have 3 options. You can either retain, refine, or remove the products, right? So retain is if one of the products is performing really well, you need to ensure that you have a really nice amount of stock so you can continue selling. So protect it from running out of stock. You need to closely monitor the competitor activity, right? And then have some alerts set up. So whenever something's happening to the listings that you need to pay close attention, because that might be a problem for you if the listing activity will go, under the radar and you will end up with listings not selling. And then with the refine the products that you need to adjust slightly, then there is also a number of ways in which you can do that. So by optimizing and negotiating and reducing and maybe adjusting the price slightly to fit the market. And then with the remove, obviously, if the product is like unrefinable, then you just need to sell it through or liquidate the stock or whatever fits you best. All right, so this is the first one. The second profit killer are the excessive fees and hidden costs. So in order to have a very healthy profit and loss analysis, you need to first of all, understand all of the fees that are applied to your business model and the way that you are running things. And then also, so basically you need a way to see all of the fees that come from Amazon that you're paying, right? And maybe in the best case scenario, then even be advised about the fact that certain fees will be applied to you if it will not change a pattern that's happening in your business. For instance, like the long-term storage fee or stuff like that. So then you have the hidden costs, things that you are not really thinking about and not taking into account. So it doesn't end up in your profit and loss report, but you're still paying them because they are operational costs that you are just not considering, right? Let's take a look at those. So first thing you can do to tackle this profit killer is understand the excessive fees that you're overpaying. So this year, Amazon introduced or modified some of the important fees, like for instance, the aged inventory fee. It was increased in 24 this spring, by the way. And what I liked about the change with this fee is the fact that Amazon also rolled out a dashboard that you can use. And here is the link that you can use the dashboard and really find the products that you're about to be overpaying in excessive fees, right? And then the second one is the low inventory fee. So you need to understand which products have inventory that is at a level that's less than the 28 days that you historically sold previously. So if you're under that with your inventory level, then you are going to pay an additional fee. So this is why it's important to maintain a healthy stock level. And what is a healthy stock level? We were discussing this question with Crystal, actually. This is not a certain number because every business obviously is different, but actually you need to understand what is your sales velocity, right? So how fast are you selling a specific product, right? And then from there, you need to understand how much demand you will have in the future. So have a demand forecast for the upcoming, period for a month or 3 months, and project how much inventory you need for that. And then again, think that you don't want to send in too much inventory because it can transform into aged inventory. So there's a very narrow window of how much inventory you want to keep in your FBA, right? And an automated tool, actually like Sellerboard, can help you understand what that window is and send in exactly the amount of inventory you need to sell at the optimal level. And then you also have modifications in 24 in your inbound placement fee. Actually, it was introduced. It was modified. And what you can do about that, you can, as I said, use demand forecasting tools just to send them in the exact amount you need. You can consolidate shipments and maybe think about the Amazon Partnered Carrier Program. That can also help you out. Okay, so there's also the return processing fee, a new fee for returns that was introduced in 24. I'm going to talk about that in a second when I'll be talking about refunds. Let's move on. So the overhead expenses is another major profit killer, things you're not considering. So think about the fact that you might be working with external services or talent. You probably have some software subscriptions, right, that you're paying for. You are probably investing, I hope you're investing in education and mentorship, right? So these are also costs that influence in your business. So you need to be also introducing them in your profit calculations because this is something that you are investing. This is an investment. And then probably you might be paying rent for an office or a warehouse. And also, maybe you're using materials if you're packing products. I don't know. If you're doing arbitrage, then maybe you are. So all of these things need to be taken into account. So you need some kind of tool to manage all of those overhead expenses. Obviously, Sellerboard has a very good indirect expenses module that helps you create one-time and recurring expenses that will automatically be applied after a specific period of time. You can fine-tune them and be sure that you're always taking the maximum number of factors into account and having a really clear and correct profitability picture. Okay, returns. This is one of my favorite profit killers. So when talking about returns, a lot of the sellers don't really understand the structure of the refund cost. right? So what is the structure of the refund cost? And just you need to understand one thing. When you are when the customer returns a product, then this happens. So in the left part of the screen, you have, for instance, this vertical green line, right? This is imagine that this is the price that the customer paid for an item, and it consists of your profit, your cost of goods, your FBA fee, referral fee, and maybe a shipping chargeback. So this is the components of what the customer actually paid for the product. But versus the right side of the screen, this is what happens when a customer returns a product. So there are specific things that Amazon refunds you as the seller, and then the things that Amazon doesn't refund you for and additionally charges you for, right? So the shipping chargeback refunded by Amazon, referral fee refunded by Amazon. Your cost of goods can be considered only refunded if the product is returned in sellable condition. A lot of the times it's not that way, right? The product might come in a condition that you might not be able to sell it. Then you lose your cost of goods and you can't sell that product. So then this is a loss. Then your FBA fee is not refunded by Amazon. You lose your profit that you might have ended up with. Then you pay an additional refund administration fee right here, charged by Amazon. Then this alone, so refund administration fee, profit, and FBA fee is already a total loss. And need to be thinking about the fact that additional things might apply here. For instance, returns processing fee. This is charged if your return ratio is too high for this product. And I'm going to be talking in a second what that means. And your removal fee. So imagine that the product came in an unsellable condition, and now you need to remove it. Amazon either needs to send it back to you or just liquidate it. So either way, you're paying for this, right? So these two things also might apply. Why am I bringing this up? Because you need to understand that when returns happen, then you are registering losses. And if you're not paying close attention to returns, meaning analyzing the structure, analyzing the products that have high return rates. So for instance, if you're not analyzing the trends for returns, right? So Sellerboard, for instance, has a very nice trends view, which lets you pick the metrics that you want to analyze over time and then see for each product how these metrics evolve. So this is the trends view. And for returns is a very nice method to understand the products where returns are going up. Right? So if you see a trend for a specific number of weeks or maybe a month or something like that and your return rates is going up, you need to address that issue and see what's up. So yeah, now that you understand the refund cost structure, let's move on. As I mentioned, you have 3 return specific fees that you might try to avoid. So refund administration fee, this is unfortunately unavoidable, right? This is mandatory. This is 20% of the FBA fee or $5, which is less. Then you have your returns processing fee. This is conditional, and this only happens if the product the return rate for this product is above the rate threshold, the threshold rate for the product category. And also, I'm going to show you what is that in the next slides. And your removal fee, which is starting at $0.04 per unit if the item is unsellable. The bigger the product, the higher the fee, obviously. Now let's finally tackle the new return processing fee. This is something that was introduced on June 1st, 2024, a fresh one. So these fees will only apply to products that have return rates above a threshold specific to each product's fee category. So what Amazon did, they actually went ahead and created specific return rate thresholds for all of the product categories. So if your product is, for instance, in baby products, then your return rate threshold is at 9.3%. Anything above that means that if you're hitting that point in your return rates, then this fee will be applied to your to this product whenever another return will happen in this category. How you can get more info and this exact list of exact return thresholds, this is the link up here. Make a screenshot and check it out. So yeah, try to pay attention to the return fees. Then you have the rate cards, obviously, for return processing fees. Also, the link is up here. You can check those out. Yeah, then what you can do to tackle this problem. So when you understand the structure and the volume of your returns, you should try and go ahead and see what you can do with that. The good news is with Amazon introducing the new fee for returns, they also rolled out a dashboard. The link is right here. So it's it's sellercentral.amazon.com/FBA/returns. And you can use this dashboard to analyze your return situation on an account level. So this is the screenshot for the account level. And then compare the products and see how the return rates have evolved over time and compared to the category threshold, right? So see where you're standing there. And also jump inside a specific product and see how the return rate for that evolved in more detail. So this is a very nice tool, but also I strongly suggest in Seller Board use the trends tool and also to see the reasons, right? You can either do it in this dashboard. On the next page, we have the insights over here. So basically a complete breakdown of why the customers return the specific products, because if you know that a product has high return rates, you might want to understand why exactly, right? So you'll have a breakdown in percentage of what people answered when they returned the products, but also you have this information in Seller Board, so you kind of have a complete dashboard of aggregated data where you can analyze everything on all levels. Then let's move forward, the FBA returns. So you can tackle this. You can actually try and lower, right, your returns. How you can do that? First of all, obviously, try to invest in higher quality of the product. This is a very obvious thing, but with time, as we have more competition at Amazon and the price wars are going on, and you have more and more products of lower quality coming in, when you invest in higher quality, actually in the long term, it pays off, right? So the customers are leaving nice reviews. You have, maybe slower but steadier growth. So it's really worth it. And this is the first thing that I would actually do. So make sure that my product, I'm sure about its quality and the features that I'm advertising are actually there. Then obviously spend some time to understand whether your listings are communicating the real picture, so they are describing the product in an exact way. The photos are not misleading, right, regarding the size, the colors, everything. Then the packaging, make sure you have a nice packaging and your products end up in the same exact way that you advertise them. If you're selling glass or something fragile, special attention to that. And work with customers that have feedback, that reach out to you. So I can firmly assure you that if you have a really nice customer support just set up, even if you're doing the customer support yourself in the beginning, this will heavily influence the return rate. So customers will highly react to you being reactive to their claims, or first of all for them reaching out to you. Okay, the next one, the FBA errors. So John actually before me did a very nice presentation. John, nice one, about the FBA errors and how you can get some of that money back refunded to you. There's obviously things you can do yourself if you don't want to delegate that. It's an more complicated process, but you actually can do it yourself. So first of all, what you need to do is to try and detect lost inventory and damaged inventory, right? Because this is something that Amazon might owe you money for. So this is also, if you need to take a screenshot of this, this is a complete breakdown of what you need to do to get those reports, right? And then if you get after you get these reports, what you need to do is reach out to Seller Central support and say, hey, I think you need to refund me for XYZ, and this is the report that I downloaded, so please take a look at that. So in which cases you might get refunded by Amazon. So first of all, obviously the returns that didn't arrive, because when customers apply for a refund, then they immediately get refunded by Amazon, but not necessarily do they send the product back to the FBA warehouse. So that's one. You might be missing inventory not returned by the customers. Then you might be overpaying in FBA fees, and because of the wrong measurement because of the product being placed in the wrong category, so you might be overpaying. So over there you might have some money that can be returned back to you. And by the way, I also want to point out the important thing that the changes that will take place this fall in the Amazon regulations regarding the refunds, everything that they can not charge you, but refund you for, please pay attention to that. That's important. And also, you might have errors in your inbound shipments. So you might be, missing inventory that you've sent out to Amazon. This also needs to be checked for. We also do these things. So how Sellerboard can help you with that? We can generate those reports. So basically, you will not have to do all of these things. You have a special module that helps you generate a report for a specific time frame that you specify for all of these cases. And then we have a template what you need to do to reach out to Seller Central Support. We also have a template of the message. So basically, you need to just pull out the report, use the template, attach the template to the message, and send it out to the support, and then work it out yourself if you want to do it. But Sellerboard can help you with that. All right, another important profit killer, the last one, the silent events. So there are a lot of things constantly happening on the listings with the competitor activity, and you need to be aware of that, because if you're not, then you might start losing sales, right? And what are the main silent profit killers? So the listing changes, the changes in the names, descriptions, the photos, the brands. If you're sharing listings with someone else, you might have new sellers on the block. So on your listings, you might lose the buy box for specific products. Your categories for the products might change. The dimensions for your products might change. So returning to the idea, of paying higher fees, then you might have reimbursement opportunities, again, going back to the previous step. And then you might have negative feedback, merchant feedback on your listings. You might want to address that, right? And additionally, last but not least, you might have stock shortages or other important inventory alerts that you need to receive. So again, Sellerboard has a very powerful alerts module, and you can set up automated alerts for different scenarios, including all of these. And not only that, can be sent out to different emails that you will specify. And you can also use a dashboard to apply different priorities to different alerts, and then work with these alerts as a to-do list, right? And tackle them and mark them as resolved, because all of these alerts are actually events that need attention from your side. So when you can transform these alerts into a to-do list, then you have a lucrative instrument that can help you go through all of them and make sure that you didn't miss anything important. All right, thank you. This is it. I made it in the time. I actually thought that this is going to be longer than I thought.
No, you're fantastic. Thank you so much, Alex. So I think you went so much deep and thorough that I believe maybe a lot of people don't have any questions. What they need to do right now is to log in to Sellerboard using the Amazon Sellers Society special link, because the cool thing is that link is going to get them 2 months free trial to just use Sellerboard, familiarize themselves with Sellerboard, and get started. Alex, my question is probably what I got started with, but I just want to make sure that I'm correct in my assessment. Who do you think is the right person to use Sellerboard? Would it be something that you should start looking at as soon as you get started, or maybe a few months down the line as an Amazon seller, as an example?
Mm-hmm. Sure. Good question. Obviously, you need to be already selling, because in order to use Sellerboard, you need to connect your Seller Central account. You need to be a seller, and you need to be generating at least some sales. But given the fact that, for instance, you have the free trial period, 2 months.
Yeah.
And I would suggest, even from the very beginning of generating sales, connect seller board and see the basic stuff, how you set it up, and try to probably develop that mindset from the very beginning that you need a tool that will show you your situation live as it is, and actually try to develop a habit of monitoring what's happening inside and having access to different data. Because if you will do that from the very beginning, it will be easier for you to scale up.
Yeah.
Because if you will start doing it in spreadsheets, and by hand, that you will not be able to,
Easily
to
move
save up your
to a
time
tool.
and move forward,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
you will have other things, especially in the beginning, and it's the hardest part, right? So you will have other things to think about and do operational stuff that you need to dig in, and source the products and other things. So I would suggest leave all of these things to a tool like Sellerboard, and just from the very beginning, right, just get acquainted or used to the fact that you have a dashboard and you have all of the information there. And as you gradually scale, you will have the option, to explore different areas of Sellerboard, because it's a tool that has a toolbox, a powerful toolbox, aside from the profit analytics, that gives you the option to generate reviews, to set up automatic review request campaigns.
Yeah.
So you will need that for products to grow. Then you have
Buy
the
box
inventory
alert
module.
also is a
Sure,
very
of course.
important feature that
The
we
alerts.
tell a lot of people, like, if you don't have time to check your account on a like every minute by minute basis, that's also something, very, very simple things. You don't have to use obviously all of Sellerboard's different features, even though they're all great.
Of course, you can start slow and then gradually, discover
Yeah.
the more advanced things. But
Yeah.
another thing I would suggest for the people that are interested, obviously, okay, if you're interested, use the link that Crystal will provide you to get the additional free month. But you can also start by checking out the demo account at
Yes.
sellerboard.com,
Yes.
because it's like a fully lucrative ambience, and you can just see and look around how it works and understand just how you can navigate through Sellerboard and what it can give you. So yeah, thank you.
I was going to say that as well. So just to repeat what Alex said, Sellerboard have like a demo account on their website. So you can just log in right now to sellerboard.com and just try the demo account to see as if somebody has invited you to their Sellerboard account with all information. Obviously, all of the information, all of the details are for demonstration purposes.
Yes.
But it can help you look and see exactly how Sellerboard would work if you were to register, subscribe to it, and have it integrated into your account. So that's, I think that is one of the coolest features, so that you could just understand and see the usability of it, how it works, and then you can be ready once you get started on your own account.
Yep, exactly.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Alex, for your time.
Thank you,
And I hope
Crystal.
you have
Pleasure.
a great, I hope you have a great rest of your Friday, and hope we get a lot of people that do register to Sellerboard. And again, if you have any questions, even if you're watching this as, if you're not watching us live, go ahead and leave your questions in the comments section. I'll make sure to answer them myself, or I'll get someone from the Sellerboard team to answer you directly.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Thank you, Crystal, again. Have a great day to yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. So that was Alex from Sellerboard. Thank you so much for Alex. Every time, we face any issues, I just message Alex and then he jumps on a call with me and he walks me through a few things. So make sure that you keep watching our channel, because we've got a lot of content coming up soon with Sellerboard. Now, with that being said, I want to introduce you to our last speaker, who I wanted to be our first speaker, but because we got our timing mixed up. So welcome, Sebastian from Signify Global Product Sourcing. Hey, Sebastian. Oh, Sebastian, I can't hear you. Let me remove your mute.
Here we go.
There you go.
Good morning, everyone from Germany. Good morning, Crystal. Thanks for having me.
Hi, Sebastian. Thank you so much for squeezing us in. Guys, just if you're watching us live, just know that Sebastian and Julia, the other co-founder of Signify, they're even busier than I am. I think that I'm always busy and traveling, but these guys, they just like are everywhere. So thank you so much for taking the time, Sebastian, to join us today. I know you are in between flights and it's very busy, and obviously August is also like a month where most people take like a little bit of a holiday. But so thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you again for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure. It's nice. Reminding me of a vacation. See that?
Yeah.
Our workation in Bali. We just got back with our team from the Maldives, and now we're flying out again. So I will not make the presentation that long because I also still have in a taxi is coming about an hour.
So Sebastian, as you know, we like to do these webinars, and as I told you and Julia, this is our second summer edition. We did our first summer edition a couple of weeks ago. So the concept is we wanted to just basically focus on problems that mostly new Amazon sellers face, and how we can help and support them. So that's why we invited you guys, because obviously Signify, you've been supporting sellers in one main concern, which is sourcing products. And the great thing is that you support with sourcing products from all over the world, not just from China, which is maybe, the first port of call for a lot of sellers. So let us know a little bit more about Signify, how you guys got started, what services you are doing, and
Sure, nice. I can do that. I also prepared a few examples if I can
Sure, of
share
course.
them with you to say where has been successfully products or purchasing costs been saved. And that's the background for us, what we do. We do find manufacturers worldwide, of course, in China as well, but also anywhere else in the world. Depends on where you sell. There may be advantages or disadvantages, and there's a huge list of them. As I may need to rush through them, you can, of course, get the presentation or take pictures then, and you can see all the pros and cons for China or against China. The background is we are sellers ourselves as well. I started my first brand 2014, so 10 years ago. We used to live in China. We used to live in Singapore. Julia was for a long time in Asia and China, used to live there. And yeah, this is where it started. She's been doing sourcing all her life long. I should never say 20 years because it's only 19 years. She's not that old. You know how women are. But,
yeah. Oh, I know.
The funny thing for us is the whole company is female. I'm the only guy. I'm the only male person in here. And now at the end of this month, in 15 days, Signify is going to be 3 years old. And we're now 65 employees, all women worldwide, locally there, where the production happens. But since we're sellers ourselves as well, good word actually here also about Alex, it was, right? Nice presentation, good overview. COGS, cost of goods sold, is a super important topic, and that's what we focus on, reducing that. By the way, if you don't use Sellerboard, we use Sellerboard ourselves as well. Pretty much everybody over here in Germany uses Sellerboard. It is a good tool, so thumbs up here. Great presentation. Good value. If you want to, I'll jump in, show a few examples of where it makes sense. And feel free, take pictures. Hold on, what is this? StreamYard, present the whole screen. Here we go.
You can present the whole screen, yeah.
And it should be this one. Now, do you see a presentation that says sourcing in and outside of China?
Yes, let me add it. There you go. Wow. And I will leave you to it.
All right. I just jumped through what are a few, pros and cons and when sourcing in China and outside of China, and where does that make sense? Of course, pros for China is that there's a very, very high likelihood that your products can be found there, that the production is quite cheap. You may have a low MOQ, of course, fast production, and you know how the Chinese are. I mean, they're really into sales, giving service into sales, answering, I usually say, day and night, Sundays, Chinese New Year, all the time, because they're willing, of course, to sell. And on the other hand, there's some negatives, of course, like, the long time for waiting if you especially go for sea or rail shipping, the costs of that, import troubles maybe, as well as import taxes and duties. And here comes one of the things for the ones of you who sell in the US, for example. US, China, not necessarily the best friends. They, of course, have high import tariffs against Chinese goods on a huge market of any of the production, which comes now to the other side. And what are advantages of other countries? You may find the same product inside or in another country in China and have 0% import tariffs, where some others may have whatever, 25 plus, 27%, 30%, 47, 48%. And all of this you can just reduce and legally import your products without running into troubles in the future. If you get it from a different country and save, some of our clients, they save millions of dollars just by the import cost. I'll show you an example. Copycats, of course, in China. I think those are all reasons that you know what's good and what's bad about China. And if we now look, for example, inside other countries, you may see, if you're selling in Europe and well, the topic of nearshoring is a huge topic for the last years, means getting your production closer to where you're selling. Like, for example, in Europe, if you're inside the European economic region, I mean, then you don't even have any imports to deal with. You have much shorter transition ways and logistics ways, which make it much cheaper, which may have a faster production. A huge benefit here is also to say, since I don't need to wait 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 13 weeks seat time to get the products over, you throw them on a truck, for example, in Turkey, and drive them into Europe, and it's there in 3, 4, 5 days, rather than whatever, if we go around the Cape of Good Hope, 10 plus weeks at the moment. This also brings you the opportunity, of course, to say, hey, I can order more quickly. I have less bound capital with those producers, because I make smaller batches, but I order more frequently. And very, very often, of course, especially if you're inside the same economic region, that may also be for the US, for example, with Mexico or South America, happens quite often then as well, that you can get better payment terms. For example, whatever, 3% discount on 30 days pay, or 90 days payment net, means you would even pay your products after receiving them, which could lead you, on the other hand, now to selling the products first, getting money, and not even having paid your supplier yet. So you're building up a positive cash flow. Advantages, of course, come also with marketing, like, hey, it's made in Europe, or we have US clients who say it's not made in China, and they put it on the packaging, huge as marketing advantages. Or you say made in the Americas, and so on and so on. Difficulties, of course, come in because they don't answer usually as fast as the Chinese do. And especially when you're over here in Europe, lucky our team speaks 20 plus languages. There's a lot of language barriers, of course, if you're looking in Poland, if you're looking in Romania, if you're looking in Turkey, if you're looking in Mexico. I don't speak Spanish, I don't speak Turkish, I don't speak Romanian, and going in there with English, yeah, it works as well. But when you show and you have the local language, you're more one of them, and they may give you more of a quotation. Yeah, let me go through a few examples. What can happen even if you directly, and that's the important thing, when doing sourcing for new products, as well as please for your best sellers, please consider that you may not have the best purchasing prices. And for us as a sourcing company, of course, we go in, we find the manufacturers and so on, but the majority of our business is actually that we're going in for bigger or established sellers, or anybody who has some best sellers already, to optimize the purchasing cost. For now, we've sourced more than 4,000 products, but this I'm saying for now a year or so like this. So I guess we must be somewhere over 5,000 products. But the more important thing is we've saved, by going such strategies, and we've saved our clients now more than $500 million, so more than $500 million, not in expenses, but in savings. And that's $500 million of additional profit that we could get through strategies like this. If you have a bestseller, for example, and you say, you know what, you can even stay in China, but thinking about getting the alternative, or getting alternative producers, and looking into whether your producer really gives you the best prices. Here's an example. We went with the same product to another supplier, always same or better quality. Of course, that's the minimum requirement. And got a new supplier very quickly in China, 12% savings. That guy, I have to admit, that he really had balls. Sorry for being so direct, but that was a new order with a new supplier for $500,000. And I was like, wow, first order with a new supplier, $500,000. That's a lot. But we got 12% savings, the quality control. And so, I mean, we also go into the factories and do the quality control. And of course, this is super important, especially it's such a big order. And that was $60,000 in savings. That's $5,000 that you may spend if you split this over a year. That's $5,000 additionally per month. Not bad. And that happened, for example, within the same country. I took, of course, our iconic garlic press right now. The products that you show here, not all of them are the real products. Of course, we keep our clients secret, and we want to protect our clients, of course, as well. And we wouldn't sell the data of the same factory so you could make competition to our clients. Of course not. But looking, for example, let's say it's a garlic press, but it's something out of the beauty niche, originally in China, going into Vietnam. Product being sold in the US. Problem, well, not necessarily the prices. The product was okay, but 27% import tariffs. And that's on $100,000. That's $27,000 you leave at the US border just to get the products inside the country to be allowed to sell them. And those guys, Germans selling in the US, they grew that much that they said, that's bothering me. Can we find an alternative? And thinking, I was like, can I get this product from another country and save on import tariffs? A country like the US or also Germany, when they go into anti-dumping tariffs against Chinese goods, they do not tax or put anti-dumping tariffs onto a product per se. They put anti-dumping tariffs onto a product from a specific country. Means here, because it came from China, 27% import tariffs. In Vietnam, 0. So we found it in there. Originally $6, it was in sales and purchasing cost. Selling in the US were 27% customs or import tariffs. And it was a lucky shot. I mean, to be honest, it was 3 hours of work. And we found that product in Vietnam, even $1 cheaper. And now here we go again with 27% import tariffs. Now, those numbers that follow, they're quite large. But if you get to such a level as well, or just take 1 0 off, it's still quite impressive. Watch. They're selling 500,000 units in a year. They're purchasing those for $6, and that's $3 million in purchasing. $1 cheaper makes $500,000, $500,000 just in purchasing the products. And when you now go into 27% import tariffs, that's an additional $810,000 in savings. Now, I'm always asking myself, those countries, are they fighting wars against other countries and wanting to penalize the countries? Of course, people won't necessarily want to buy from there anymore, and that's the strategy. Or are they actually fighting against their own sellers? Because the seller has to pay in order to get the products inside $810,000 anti-dumping tariffs against Chinese goods. If you can see, I mean, this is $1.31 million per year, and that in an hourly wage, 3 hours of working, that was quite lucky. I would love to have such an hourly wage, my God, and do those projects all the time. $436,000 for 3 hours of work, right? You do this in an hour, and that's absolutely massive what you can save. And the funny thing is, this was only one product. Now imagine this would be your company, or say you spend $30,000 in purchasing or $300,000, depending on how far you are. That's a lot of savings you still have in there. With 9 products in total, it added up to 14 million USD savings per year just by switching that over and finding alternative producers here in another country. Another example, it's not the food storage goods, it's actually cosmetics. But what they did is originally producing a lot of it in Europe, and we split this up. Where can we get different components in there from China, from Germany, from France, from Italy, from Poland? And originally in the first 8 months, this way, by alternating on finding and looking for producers in different countries and finding alternative producers in the same countries and start negotiating your best sellers. And this is what you can do. Just go to your suppliers, find additional ones, or ask somebody for help. They had $1.55 million in savings in the first 8 months of working with them. And And a $27 million revenue, this is 5.9% hold on here on the revenue. That's insane. Before, they had roughly about $2.7 million in profit out of those $26 million, so somewhat above 10%. And by just doing this, they ended up at somewhere around like $4.2 million. And all of a sudden, just by looking into this, you get your 100% profit. You make 56% more money without selling a single unit more. And as well, here come the advantages on top of it, where you can then say, if you look into other countries as well, if you consider buying it from other suppliers, that you even have faster shipping, faster production, less bound capital, maybe a positive cash flow, because within your same economic region where you're selling, they may trust you, or you may have laws with one another to say, yeah, they're quite open of having an extended payment terms of, you maybe make a down payment of 10, 15%, and the rest you pay even 30, 60, 90 days after receiving the goods, where you're already selling quite a bit of that. Now, what kind of products can you, for example, source outside of China? I can't go through all of them, but just as an example, household, kitchen, bathroom, of course, even food supplies. I mean, to make the whole list actually a little bit shorter, Crystal, can you actually see the camera here as well? Do you see me as well?
Yes, we can see you and we
Okay.
can see the presentation. No problem at all.
Great, because usually here in the presentation mode, I only see my screen, the presentation, not myself. But what
Yes,
I
I
usually
know,
say
because,
is,
yeah, but we can see you, of course.
great. What I usually say is things that are quite likely to stay maybe always or most of the time in China is, of course, heavy electronics, and or of course Taiwan and other countries similar around. But on the other hand, even Mexico right now, the Chinese were investing, I think, was it $400 or $600 million into building some of the largest electronic producing factories in Mexico. But to make things, of course, affordable, where do you have the mass production for those? Would be China and, Chinese connected countries. And another thing, if you see here, this is also one of my products, it's a camera cover. Small plastic pieces. I mean, unfortunately, of course, tons and tons of Chinese competition in there. But those are like small products that would be like plastic injection, molding, etc., where the machine on its own spits out thousands of units in an hour, and they're like so cheap in production. There's the question, where would it really make sense to get the products, for example, those ones then from Germany or so? I do actually have a competitor who says that his ones are made in Germany, where I'm thinking, well, not sure this is really the case, because that same mold I found in China, but maybe what you do, hint here as well. This is another thing also to think about. Depending on the country and each rule is, they probably get the products into Germany. They maybe here have a home for example, disabled people, where they still give them, of course, work and chances and so. And then the value, the main value, the main cost would be done inside Germany, who probably take those ones, put it in the bag and close the bag. And then you could say, whether ethically correct or not, that it's made in Germany, where I'm not the great fan of, doing such gray or black hat technology. Yeah. A few other ones here, just feel free, take a screenshot, look into it, just as an example of where can you find products in which kind of other countries. Now, the main reason always when you look at your own products and when you say, hey, where can I find this? Please imagine you need to understand what the product is made out of. If it's made from bamboo, then it's quite unlikely you will have good prices in Europe, because there's simply no bamboo growing here. You may have it, of course, around the equator, or in the tropics. China and Southeast Asia, of course, is a big area where bamboo grows quite well, and as well other places in the world. Freshly squeezed orange juice, I think one of my favorite examples, you may not get from Alaska or Norway. Same as, of course, with olive oil. But if you're also now looking, for example, into textiles, think about what is the major part of your product, what it's made from, and then you can find out the countries where you could go in and look for them. And of course, I mean, textile, let it be Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, of course, Vietnam, Thailand as well, and other Southeast Asian countries. In Europe, it could be Spain, Portugal, or even some more of the Eastern European countries. And or of course Mexico, or some South American countries that do go into textile production as well. Now, one of the big questions is, of course, okay, now I know the countries, now I know the products, now I know some of the things that can be done, but where do I find some of the suppliers? Everybody knows Alibaba, and of course you do find also other countries, other producers from outside China, partially on Alibaba as well. Even in Yaoliobaba 1688, the Chinese version of, well, the Chinese Alibaba. But on the other hand, there's other pages like, global sources, Euro pages, in Germany, WLW, which means who delivers what, or who produces what. There's also Lieferanten.de, like suppliers.de. You may find others on AliExpress, also producers from China and or other countries. But most important as well to think, besides Google and their own homepages and looking in whatever google.ro, google.in, Google. In each country, then in the local languages to find their web pages and hopefully do be able to understand them. Those factories, of course, also understood that by now there's a social media existing. So they will do some kind of work, probably not the heaviest and the strongest social media marketing, but they'll also probably take some videos in the production and then show, hey, we're also on social media, woohoo! So you can find them, even look in LinkedIn, look on Facebook, look on Instagram for producers. Google, search for them, look at web pages. And here's a small tip or trick that maybe a lot of people don't seem to think this way. If you get to a web page that looks like 1994, really crappy, really old, no information on there, many people say it's like, that's a bad webpage. They probably don't produce anything. If those companies still exist with such a bad webpage for 10, 20 years, then that's a damn good sign. You know why? Because they don't need a webpage to survive. They grow by word of mouth. They grow by quality. They grow by referrals. They don't need to take care of online marketing. So the next time you look at a really bad old school webpage, which maybe doesn't even show the real products anymore, and this is another trouble, of course, that you have to find out what do they produce today because they never took care of their webpage. But that's a really good sign. In the very beginning for us, I usually said signify our webpage. I mean, we're still developing, right? We're also not super strong in online marketing yet either. But I usually said, if there's one company out there that has a worse webpage than Signify and exists for 10, 20 years in the market, that's a really good sign. So don't think bad web pages mean bad producers. On the other hand, of course, connections, vitamin C, having people knowing somebody as well. Another hint maybe is when you go to your producer, let's say you do plastic molding, like we say here, the camera covers, and they're like small parts, but you want to actually have something larger, let's say even car bumpers, right? Or the any larger parts of plastic molding, plastic injection, etc. And you go to the supplier and say, nope, sorry, we don't have the machines for this. We can't produce that product. This is usually the end of a conversation. Go a step further. Those people are experts in plastic production. They will know who has the machinery for larger parts. They will know who have the machinery to put big molds in there. So just simply go ask them, like, hey, do me a favor before we end the call. Thank you so much, of course, for answering. But if you were in my shoes, now, whom could I contact? Who has machinery part? Because it's not their competitors, right? Because this is a different product they can't produce, but they may or may not know on who could produce it. Now, the next step is even you may have a person there on the phone who then is, I don't want to say like a typical employee, and then says, nah, sorry, don't know, don't care. And then you may even go another step further. It's like, I understand, thank you very much. Do me a favor. Do you have anybody in the company who maybe knows who could be the right one? Maybe your boss or someone in sales or someone in partnership or from the purchasing department. And maybe they can connect you and you ask those people. And this is where you can then find out. And on the other hand, call, be on the phone, use online calling services. You do not want to see our invoice of 60 plus ladies from the last years on internet calls, and I don't know how many thousands and 10,000s. I don't even know how many calls, but I've seen the invoice. No, far, if not even 100,000 calls or so plus. In any way, call. This is the best situation. This is the best way of communicating with people and finding out as much as you can. I hope this gives you a bit of an overview. I think I had, if you need some more, information, feel free, of course. Here, check in, send a WhatsApp, scan this, it directly goes into WhatsApp and say, hey, is there a chance if you say you need some potential savings? Can we reduce the cost? What are the ways? Find out where you could maybe find some of the suppliers. Feel free. Team is there. Ask the first questions. And I hope with this, Crystal, this is something useful for the listeners to please look into your profit always, especially. And 10 years ago, it was so much easier, less competition. I'm sad myself, I didn't throw in thousands of products, just launch. And in today's world, I mean, the trouble is we don't only have the local competitors, we have the Chinese as well, right? So anybody may win who has the highest profit, of course, in order to make good marketing. And if you can afford from the savings, if you can afford yourself to buy spot number one, get the best advertising, still make money and outbeat and outrun your competition, then you're well set in the market. There's a lot of competition. We know it.
I'm happy that you're, Sebastian, sorry to cut you off, but I'm happy that you're alluding to all of this information, because I feel for somebody that's starting out on Amazon, if they launch a product and it doesn't do as well as they anticipate it to do, they just quickly lose hope and they think this whole business model doesn't work. So I'm very happy that you're solidifying the fact that of course there are going to be products that one variable, which is your competitors and the overall market, is something that you can't control. So you might not be able to control that. That's why launch. A product doesn't do well, just sell it out and then move on to something else, rather than just give up your whole business just because one product doesn't do as well, because all of a sudden you've got 5 new competitors, they're selling at a much lower cost, and you just can't continue with that product.
I mean, there's maybe a reason, I don't know if you can see in the background, they call me the connector in the e-commerce industry, maybe for the reason because we have our own brands. Don't necessarily only give up on a product. I mean, there's so many things that you can also do. Of course, optimize your images, optimize your listings, get better PPC done, get better reviews, of course, get external traffic. And we have a lot of connections, and we're very, very happy, of course, to share them, to introduce the same. I mean, hold on, I need to show this direction to you, Crystal. I mean, all the work you do for the sellers, it's, the same way as you and us, we're connected. I do believe in general, it really helps the sellers when there's good people. I mean, Crystal and you and the whole the whole Amazon Seller Society. I mean, it's fantastic. There's so many other partners who can help, because when you have a product in your hand, you didn't win anything, nothing. You have a product and you're selling it. But this is where we have all the partners, and happy to connect with the good ones that we know. Love to help out, love to connect anywhere over. Feel free just to ask.
Yeah. Sebastian, my last question before we let you go, because your taxi is coming. So for anyone that is starting out, or for anyone rather not starting out, for anyone that is watching us right now, and they're thinking, oh my God, I'm going to move my manufacturing to Germany, I'm going to move my manufacturing to Poland, to Vietnam, to whatever, it seems to be like a little bit scary. Is there going to be like a really high MOQ? Should I be very technical in nature? Should I know everything about my product? What would be the right fit for somebody to reach out to? I know you guys help and support every single level of seller, from multi-million-dollar sellers to sellers that are just starting out. But is there something really, significant in thinking about manufacturing, for example, in Europe versus China? Is there something where you really need to have a good MOQ, be ready to order large quantities, or no? Is it just a case-by-case basis?
It is indeed a case-by-case basis. Don't worry. On the other hand, of course, there are some producers, I usually say, like, old white men. that they're used to having their 2, 3, 4 clients, and then it looks like,
Yeah.
oh, what should I do with you? But on the other hand, you know what? There's also when we go in and source a product, we usually target to find about 30, sometimes even 60 potential producers. And some of them, they're not those high and mighty and old white men who will retire in 3 years at the house at the lake and don't care about you. And there's many others as well. If I tell you our second brand is a cosmetics brand, we started with a product with 500 units. This guy is for 40 years in the market and produces for the very large ones. Some of them are really very, very open to say, hey, you know what? I'm also willing to take on a new business because I'm learning China has overtaken us because they are private label and they're giving service and sales where the only thing I think you need to, there's so many things, so many products. 40% is what we're producing currently in China.
Yeah.
The rest is in the rest of the world. So we're now producing
I thought it was
more.
higher, to be quite honest. I thought it was higher.
It used to be 90%, but over the last years, it switched to 40% in China, rest of the world. There are small MOQs always also possible, but we need to understand here higher costs, higher living, higher everything, and laziness, no doubt. But if you're prepared for, knowing how to deal with those local suppliers, what to tell them and how to push them forward and understand that they're not as updated as the Chinese are in terms of like small, fast production. Yes. But you'll get them. You need to bring patience. It takes about double the amount of time, literally. When we do a sourcing project in China, it usually takes 25 to 30 hours. Outside of China, usually 40 to 50 hours to get into like 30 potential producers, go and contact and ask again, and so on. But don't be afraid. There is, even we had the second, like a fully made in Germany cosmetics brand over here, and it's possible.
Sebastian, do you find that positioning of a product that is made like in Germany or in any other European country, positioning the product on Amazon as a more expensive product, or let me say like a more premium product, and selling it at a higher price just because you can say that it's made in Germany or made in Italy, as an example, would that be also a way to offset maybe the additional prices? With your experience from your own brands and the brands that you have supported, are sellers able to sell products maybe a little bit more expensive if they are able to highlight the fact that they're not made in China? Specifically, of course, for cosmetics and supplements, like, of course, who wants to take a supplement that's made in China? Yeah.
Very, very simple way to find it out. In general, before I answer that question, in general, do me the favor, please stop with Me Too products. Please don't do this anymore. Blocker cards for me, that's like a simple card, very quick, very fast competition. And when you have lots of competition, the only way is price down. It's a race to the bottom. Set yourself off, even if you do it in China, set yourself off with quality and get more premium products. When you say if it's made in Germany or made in Europe, let's go back to this topic here, the camera covers. And think in the shoes of your client. Think in the shoes of a German buyer who buys on Amazon and says, all right, I need a camera cover for my phone. I don't want to be spied on when I sit on the toilet. And come on, guys, admit it. Some of you do that, of course. Or women with a face cream after the shower, sitting on the couch with a towel on the head. You don't want to be seen like this, or somebody taking a screenshot. Will you buy or care? Will you buy or say, I need this camera cover? I have emotional connections that this must be made in Germany? No. So, this one competitor, I don't think he has any advantage of saying this is made in Germany. But now it comes to baby stuff. Now it comes to food stuff. Now it comes to high quality household goods. It comes to pet food and so on. You think your cosmetics and say, I don't want to have any Chinese chemicals on my face.
Of course.
Think that the average buyer is not the smartest person. China will produce the best cosmetics in the world if you focus on doing that, looking into quality, checking into the quality, and giving exactly the regulations that you want. But the average buyer, the normal person who watches whatever kind of TV and sitcoms and talk shows and, I don't know, read the cheap yellow pages, they may say, "Ooh, China bad. Cannot do." So if there's emotional connection in there where you would say it's made in Europe, or it's a Romanian product and I'm selling it to Romanians, and or something Arabic. You want to sell into an Arabic community into Germany. It should not come from China. And then you use those words. Emotional connection, of course.
Sebastian, as always, very much appreciate your time. And thank you and Julia, as always, for your constant support. And I hope that you will be joining us in our in-person events in Dubai this year, but we'll keep it as a surprise.
Maybe we'll see. But thank you so much, Crystal.
Thank you so much, and hope you have a safe flight.
I will. Thank you so much. You take care and good luck with the show. Guys, listen and re-listen to everything. There's so much value. Thank you, Crystal, for putting such things up and helping sellers with so much great content. Not for me, but in general, taking the effort and supporting the Amazon Seller Society with so much information. Crystal, this is awesome. I know you love sellers. It's fantastic.
Thank you, Sebastian. So that was Sebastian Hurst from Signify Global Product Sourcing. He's the co-founder, and he was our last speaker. So for everyone that has joined us live today, thank you so much for taking the time. Make sure that you add all of your comments, all of your questions, and I'll make sure that myself or the speakers, if it's related to any of the speakers, reply back to you. Check out all of the details of each and every speaker in the description box of the video so that you can reach out to them directly. And as always, thank you so much for your help and support. Make sure that you thumbs up this video so that it can reach more and more sellers on YouTube. And I hope to see you soon. Bye.